like losing that one. Are there ones you like losing? Well, no, but I guess my question is this the last game that we can blame on the fact that a lot of the team had the flu? Well, no. Was that not what you were gonna say? Well, it's the fact that they had something, but yeah, that something was the flu. It was the poop, Steven. I mean, they haven't said that. Yes, but the poops have been heavily implied. Let's go! Good. We all feel good. Stop! Never gets rusty!
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. It's true. They had the poops. Leafs lose 5-2 to the New York Rangers in a game where the Leafs were less so defeated by the Rangers and more so defeated by the hockey gods. Like, that's about right? Dude, they gave us a 7-0 win without Austin Matthews in the lineup. And the next game, Matthews is back in the lineup. He scores 2 goals. Leafs lose by 3. That's Leafy, dude. People don't understand what Leafy means. I'll give you an idea of what Leafy means. We got a great crash course in it last week where the Leafs come back. Tavares scores his 999th and 1,000th point to tie it, and the Leafs lose anyway. That's Leafy. But the Leafiest stat to come out of this one, Martin Jones was beaten by fewer shots than Igor Shesterkin in this one. He was. Igor Shesterkin was beaten by more shots than Martin Jones. Martin Jones' team lost by 3 goals. Explain that! Now, some of you might be like, no, really, explain that. I don't get it. You know how many clean shots Jones was beaten by tonight? 1 out of 5! And you might be saying, oh, well, deflections don't count. Like, tip-ins. 3 goals went in off of Leafs players, dude. One of them happens, you're like, oh, you should get in better position. A second happens, you're like, oh, you need to be better with your body in front. A third one happens, and you're like, okay, all right. Now, the unfortunate thing is the eventual game-winning goal by Schneider was the only one to beat Martin Jones, and it wasn't the best, but he still only allowed 1. Martin Jones has allowed fewer goals from shots against in 2 games against Igor Shesterkin in a week. Which, let's be honest, is probably kind of lucky. But he lost one of them, so luck out the window. There's a fine line between good luck and bad luck in the finer details. Speaking of the finer details, I'm going to drive you nuts for the rest of the video. There is something in the background that is different from the last video, and I want you to point out to me what it is in the comments. Even producer Drew is editing this right now like, what? It's true! I fooled you! Producer fooled! No, shout out producer Drew, who has actually been a busy bee this week. The sponsor for this LFR is SDPN. That's another one of my companies, because we just made a new video, the first in a series called Dangle Data, where we're gonna comb through some numbers. If you follow my Twitter, if you've been watching over the years, you know that I like to get into the numbers a little bit, but not necessarily the nerdy stuff. And generally, I don't like math that involves letters, but I'll give you an idea of what the video is about. So, how many players have ever played in the NHL? The answer is over 7,600. How many of those players have ever scored a single NHL goal? It's less. How many of those players have reached 10? It's less. What about 50? What about 100? And then all these milestones that you never really think about until it's like 300, 400, 500. You don't need to score that many goals to have had a crazy NHL career. 100, even 50 is extremely rare. And that's what we go through on Dangle Data on the STPN YouTube channel. Check that out. Now back to our regularly scheduled video. Gosh darn it, the Leafs lost! Like, dude, the Leafs go down 1-0, and it's hard to even be mad about it because this was the look on the New York Rangers' face when it went in. Mika Zibanejad had no idea where the puck was, and he's the guy who scored the goal. And that was in the second period, by the way. None of this happened in the first period, where the Leafs did not look like the better team at all. Falling over, disconnecting passes, and like, I don't want to blame everything forever on the fact that the Leafs have been sick over the last couple weeks. I think they're at the tail end of it, but they're not quite done. I mean, Matthews missed last game, and it's pretty obvious that he got hit hard by it. He just scored 2 goals. But then TJ Brody, I was shocked to see in this one, because Sheldon Keefe said that, I think it was yesterday, was the first meal Brody had had in like days. Like solid meal. Feels like solid meals might be important for professional athletes. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I do have a TikTok account, which is close. So they don't look good in the first, but they survive it. And then that is what beats them. A bounce off of like several butts. Meanwhile, look at what the Leafs had to do for their first goal. Meanwhile, look what the Leafs have to do to fight and claw about a minute later just to get a goal. Tyler Bertuzzi, he's out there late in the shift. He should not still be out there. But while he's out there, he is working. And he gets the zone exit. He says, get the puck out of here. And he gets it to Morgan Riley, who goes to work. And he's carving through the Rangers zone. And he gives it to Austin Matthews, which is generally speaking a really good strategy. And Matthews rips it like a laser beam. Hooray! He's an extraterrestrial. We already knew that. His 24th of the season. The game is tied. Shortly after, however, the Rangers get a power play. What a novel concept. Hey Mitch, how's your face? Feels like someone elbowed you in it? That's unfortunate. Off the face-off, the Rangers win it. They give it to Alexi Lafreniere. He fires it on. Sorry, did I say on? I meant directly at Morgan Riley, but it deflects in, and what is Martin Jones supposed to do there? Basically, two knuckleballs beating Martin Jones, and that's the lead that the Rangers take into the third period. But have no fear, because Austin actual Matthews is here. And you know what? This play is all Matthews finding the open space. Good pass from Jake McCabe, but I want you to go back and watch this goal because of Matthew Knies. It's really funny. It's hard to find players like this in today's NHL, but Matthew Knies is definitely one of these players. The Rangers are guarding the front of the net, but it's not a defenseman. It's Mika Zibanejad, and Matthew Knies is like, all right, I guess we'll set up shop right here. Zibanejad's like, move. And Knies is like, no. And Zibanejad's like, move, I own a burger place in Sweden. It's actually quite good. And Knies goes, I went there and still no. And so he just stays there. That makes Shesterkin's life more difficult, which is terrible because it's Austin Matthews taking a shot, and then he shoots it and he scores! Matthew Knies does not get an assist on that play, but he did set up the screen. We call that the Daryl Boyce assist, and it's tied 2-2. Once again, do you hear how different the goals sound? I'm not saying nothing went into either Rangers goal so far, but you see the difference! Now, heading into this game, I was like, if the Rangers win, it's going to be Jimmy Vesey. He's going to be the one to do it. Ollie Walker, who covers the New York Rangers, talked to Jimmy Vesey, and he finally addressed the Amazon documentary that he was a part of. You might not remember. You probably do, though. Very vanilla. Yeah, I remember that. Turns out he didn't like how he was depicted in the Amazon documentary, and I know a lot of Leaf fans were beaking him earlier today. He's right. Like, the Leafs were, like, not kind to Jimmy Vesey in that documentary, and I'm not saying they had to be. It was not, that's not the point of a documentary. To be like, here it is, all sunshine and rainbows. It's beautiful. The point of a documentary is to be like, here's what happened. That's the point of a doc. But we know there were Leaf players who were Leafs after that season, might still be on the Leafs now, who there were things that were cut from the documentary to spare their feelings. Jimmy Vesey got picked up by the Canucks on waivers earlier that season, so they were like, leave it in. So they did. And he didn't look great, but now look at his career. He's done great with the Rangers. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. He is not the one who undid the Leafs in this one, like I thought. Braden Schneider ends up getting the game winner, jumping up in the rush. His first goal in like 23 games, his second of the season. But who gave him the puck? Noted former Leaf, Eric Gustafsson. Also noted guy who isn't Rasmus Sandin or on the Leafs anymore. Neither of those guys is on the Leafs anymore. That's pretty cool. But he is forever in my memory as the first guy to hug Ilya Samsonov after the Leafs beat the Lightning for some reason. Because I guess everyone swarmed Tavares and he's like, the goalie! So he's just burned into my memory like that. So now the Leafs are down in the third period. All right. It's going to take something magical again. But two things happen. One, they ran out of magic. And two, the Rangers got their second power play opportunity of the game. The Leafs had none. Artemi Panarin, who seemed like really mad in this one. There was a play earlier in the game where Martin Jones made a glove save on him, and he seemed like personally affronted. Like, you know, that's his job, right? Anyway, he scored on the power play, and it again, it hit a foot! It hit Lagesson's foot! And then Zibanejad, who again, owns a burger place in Sweden. It's lovely. Mwah. Really, really. Brodernass. I kept calling it a burger place because I forgot the name of it. Brodernass. Brodernas. That's mostly for Robert Malloy, who does the captions. You're welcome, Robert. And the Leafs lose. And once again, deflection, goal, pretty good goal. Deflection, empty netter. Martin Jones allowed one goal from a shot in this game. Shesterkin allowed two. Who's better? Who would you rather have? Game 7. Everything on the line. Martin Jones, absolutely. Questions. This isn't a question, it's just fun from Jonas Siegel. Austin Matthews scored twice in 5 of his last 7 games. That's dumb. Dude, Matthews has scored in 13 different games this season. He has 9 multi-goal games. That means he has 9 multi-goal games and only 4 games where he only scored once. Pardon? From a Rangers fan, boo! Being the recipient of some revenge tonight, how's it feel? Also, can't wait for the rubber match. Also, your Twitter handle is Booztrodamus. You know what? The Leafs look forward to measuring stick games. And there were games in recent seasons where, like, they lost to the Hurricanes, and it wasn't a very good loss. But the Leafs valued the way the Hurricanes played. They looked at the Hurricanes and said, we can be a different version of them. They are the standard of where we want to be. Looking around the Eastern Conference, at very least looking at teams who aren't in the Leafs' own division, why not look at the New York Rangers right now? They hit, but they're also fun, and they get stops. They have an over-the-hill backup who's like way better than anyone thought they would be, with a 5-letter last name. How do I get caught up on all these things? What's wrong with me? I feel like the Rangers have not given the Leafs their best, and the Leafs have not given the Rangers their best in either game that we've seen between these two. I can't wait for the third one because I think they know it's the rubber match, right? It's going to be a little later in the season. There's going to be no blowout. I can pretty safely assume that. And there's going to be no team coming off of a week-long case of the poop explosions. Were you also amazed by the cleanness of the New York Rangers? 0 penalties. So I'm grumpy the Leafs didn't get any power plays in that game. I will say this. There's only one thing from this game that I thought really, like, you can't miss. Should have been a power play. There are a few things that borderline. And, like, we always complain, like, just call the game. Just call it. Calling the game honestly does not mean give one team the exact same amount of penalties as the other. Sometimes one of the teams sucks and they're getting outshot into oblivion and they deserve to be shorthanded 7 times for all the stupid things they're doing and only get 1 power play. That's just the case. But does the NHL want a league full of blowouts? No, they want parity. So I'm not going to complain too much about it, but here's a pretty interesting stat. This is from Steven Papas. Not a question, but Tuesday was the first time since January 4th, 1969! Nice! That the Rangers did not commit a single penalty against the Maple Leafs in Toronto. That is 92 games! That's so many games! Yeah, like, this is the first time that's happened to the Leafs this season. If it happened all the time, I'd be more grumpy about it, but not a big complaint in this one. A little one. You could always complain. People say, I can't complain. Yes, you can. Try harder. From Doug, the Leafs are 0-3 when I'm in attendance now. Should I officially stop going? Okay, first of all, the Leafs are one of the best teams in the NHL this season so far. So the fact that you're 0-3 in attendance is actually like legitimately hard and ridiculously unlikely. Also, should you stop attending? Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. And it's nothing against you. I'm actually doing this to help you. You're on pace to go to like what, 8 or 9 Leaf games this season? Probably a bit closer to 8 games this season. So you got 5 more games to go. Buddy, I'm about to save you like 2 or 3 grand. Like, forget the Leafs end of the bargain in this. Like, maybe they'll win some more games. No, you. I'm going to save you like a used car. They lost in regulation? Is that legal? The answer from NHL.com appears to be yes, but barely. Only 2 teams in the NHL have fewer regulation losses than the Leafs. The Boston Bruins with 5, of course, and the LA Kings with 6. The Leafs are tied with the New York Rangers, ironically, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So even though the Leafs have a lot of like overtime and shootout wins and stuff like that, man, they do not lose a ton in regulation. And I don't know why I'm featuring this in a video where the Leafs lost and one of the goals went in off of him, but I'm going to do it anyway. Riley for Norris. Dude's been playing his best defensive hockey of his career, been unreal this year. Yeah, and I picked him up in fantasy, and I'm real happy about it. He got another point in this one. No, seriously, like, I know Morgan Riley has been, like, kind of up and down over the last few years, but he had a spectacular playoffs, and really low-key, everyone's, you know, whining about, we need to go out and get a new defenseman, and that's all exciting. Turns out the guy who's actually been part of the organization since 2012 might be playing the best hockey of his life. And yes, I am including the season where he scored 20 goals and 72 points. He was brilliant offensively that year. But Riley's all-around game, I think, is probably the best it's ever been. So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Head on over to the SDPN YouTube channel. Click subscribe, you silly goose. And check out Dangle Data. You will not be disappointed. I think it's a splendid video.